Hi everyone, my name is Jill Johnston and I will be your instructor today for our Winter Wonderland project, mini mug keychains or necklaces. So I'm going to bring you in, show you our supplies, and let's get started. So this is our project up close. As you can see, an adorable little mini mug. Now I have it on a keychain. Also included in your kit today will be a longer ball chain where you can make it into a necklace as well. So our supplies for this project will be included in this container here. And within it is our air dry clay. So we have the filler color, the color for our mug, brown for the hot chocolate, white for the marshmallows, and in here is the ball and chain so we can make keychains or necklaces. You will also be receiving a stylus tool, a small popsicle stick, and a large popsicle stick. Okay, let's get going. So right away, I find that the stylus tool, this one right here, is handy to get the clay out of our little containers here. Sometimes it can be kind of difficult. So I poke it in, lift it out to get our clay. Now this clay might be a little sticky. If it is, roll it between your hands, get that stickiness to go away. And then we're going to start to roll it into a ball. Just like so. Roll it around in the palms of our hands. Next, we're going to turn it into a log. So for that, you can also roll it in your hands by going back and forth. Just like that. You could also use the table and roll it back and forth this way, just to get a nice thick log. So our next step is tapping the top and the bottom to create a flat surface for our mug. So you can do this a couple ways. You can take it in your hands and just tap down with your fingers, like so, or you can hold on to this and tap it on the table ever so lightly, just to get a generally flat topped tube. So now this is going to be the middle of our mug. What we're going to do next is take the hot chocolate color. So we're getting that brown, scooping it out. And see, it's a little bit sticky. That's okay. We can just wipe that off with our hands, a paper towel, whatever works. So we're going to start the same way that we did with the body of the mug. We're going to roll it around in our hands, make it into a ball. The next step we're going to do is flatten this into a disc. So we can press down with our finger here, kind of hold it in our palm and press down. Or we could take it between our fingers and kind of pinch and turn it, just so we make a round, flat disc. Like so. Now this turned out pretty big. I could even divide this in half, and I think I just might. So what this is going to be is the hot chocolate. So on that body of the mug that we made, this is going to be on the top. So I'm going to take that little disc that we made with the hot chocolate and place it on the top. Now it doesn't have to look super perfect. But what we're looking for is just to get that top layer of the chocolate on. And so see, I'm kind of shaping it when you're molding these air dry pieces together, if they don't really want to mesh very well, you can use your pointer finger and just kind of gently pull it down, press and pull. It might warp the body, but it's really easy. We can just roll it back again, so don't worry. What we will see with this material is that any of the cracks that happen, you can do your best to sort of smooth it out with your fingers or try with our tools. So see here, I have some cracks along the top. You can kind of press it down and smooth it out. Not necessarily a dragging motion, that tends to wrinkle it up some more, but just kind of gently pat it down and you're gonna have cracks. That's just sort of what this material entails. Okay, so now that we have the hot chocolate on the top, we're going to move on to the mug color. Now these will be assorted colors, so I'm not sure what you guys are gonna get, but in my kit here, I have green. So I'm gonna pick that up, take it out. This one's a touch sticky, so we're gonna roll it around in our hands, just like a ball. And the same way that we made the body of the mug, we're going to make the outer covering of the mug. So I'm gonna roll it around and roll it into a log. This is also known as a coil. The next step I'm going to do is flatten it with my fingertips. Now, one tip I have for this, especially making sure that it goes all the way around your mug, is to just kind of measure it out. So see how this only goes about halfway around? We're gonna wanna make the coil basically as big as we can make it. Or not necessarily as big as we can make it, but we're going to want to make the coil the same, okay, I'll start that over. So taking that mug color, what we're going to do is similar to making the body of the mug. We're going to roll it around in our hands, kind of like a ball, but then we're going to roll it into a coil. So that rolling back and forth motion. You can also use the table once again. I kind of like the table for this one. And now our goal is to get this coil the right length so it wraps around the body of our mug. So as you're rolling, just kind of check to see, would this fit, would this wrap around? And it will. So our next step there is we're going to flatten it with our fingers. So I'm going to push it down on the table, kind of press and roll out. Once we've got that coil flattened out, we're going to use our stylus and basically use it as a little rolling pin. Now, you can do this also with your fingers, but I find that the stylus rolling pin helps us get the most even flatness. So we're just going to keep rolling it back and forth. You might have to flip it around. So roll back and forth until we get a pretty thin piece of our mug color. So now this is kind of nice. It doesn't really stick to surfaces. So you can roll, pick it up, roll, pick it up, just to kind of turn it around, get it even. And once we have this, like our flat rectangle, we're going to take it and wrap it around the body of our mug. So you can either hold it up or lay it on the side. I think I'm gonna hold it up to show you guys. And we are just going to start wrapping around the body. Now notice how I'm not covering the top, that chocolate. We want that to stay out and open. So I'm just wrapping around. And once we get to that part where the seams meet, you can just hold and lightly tear it away. So we're going to take this excess, set it aside, and then pat this seam just to make it smoother. Pat that down. You might see some cracking along the side of your or excuse me, along the top of your mug. So you can kind of pat that down too. And then reshape as necessary. So mine started to get a little bit rounder, so I'm just going to roll it out as we work. Now, the bottom's bare. We are going to use that excess mug color and just pinch off a little bit because we need to make sure that we have enough to make a handle. So take that mug color, roll it into a ball, flatten it into a disc just like we did the hot chocolate, and make sure that there's enough to cover the bottom. So we'll press that down, do our best to blend the seams, but keep in mind the seams won't totally be invisible, but that's okay. Now I'm doing a little tap just to flatten out that bottom again. So with the remaining piece of our mug color, we are going to turn this into a handle. Now what we're going to do is we'll roll it into a ball and then roll into a small coil. This I find the table works the best. Just roll back and forth, use a couple fingers. Get something about like that. Now we're going to stick it on the side. And do our best to kind of blend it in. Now this is where the stylus tool or the little popsicle stick really comes in handy. I just kind of press it down in just to make sure that all of these little bits are stuck together. Just do your best to smooth it. And we need to make sure that there is enough space in between the handle where we can thread our keychain later. So if you're kind of losing space, use the stylus tool and push it through. So that created a little bit better opening for me. Press those seams together. Okay. And with the white color, we are going to make marshmallows, or you can make a coil for whipped cream. I'll show you both. So with that, we're just gonna pinch off little tiny balls to make marshmallows. So kind of roll that in between our fingers, just like so. You place those along the top, or you could make a big coil of whipped cream, like one from a canister. To do that, we're going to roll it into a coil, a little coil, and then start to wrap it in on itself. So kind of like you're making a cinnamon roll, but as you're rolling it, move that clay upwards to create a spiral. And just gently press on top. So once the handle is on our cup of cocoa, our project is essentially complete. Now you can decorate the outside with the leftover clay that you have. For instance, on my example, I used excess white to make a little snowman. Once your clay has hardened, it is an air dry clay. Leave it out overnight to harden. Once hardened, you can draw on more fine details like I did here with the buttons and the hat by using a fine tip marker or a pen. And then the very last step is threading our ball chain necklace here, or the little keychain that's included in our kit, through the mug handle. So threading the ball chain through the mug is our very final step. So thank you so much for making this project with me today, and enjoy your festive cup of hot cocoa.